नमस्कार, मी राजीव केतकर येत्या नॅशनलमधल्या फार्मर्स मार्केटमध्ये बसलेलो आहे. आत्ताच आम्ही इथे भाजी भरपूर प्रमाणात घेतलेली आहे. आपल्या पुण्यात कसं कोथरूडला किंवा गांधी भवनजवळ विक्री बाजार भरतात भाज्यांचे फळांचे. तसं इथे भरपूर प्रमाणात भाज्या आणि फळं उपलब्ध आहेत. हे सगळे पदार्थ हे सगळे प्रोडक्ट फार्मर्सनी आपल्या शेतातून डायरेक्ट इथे आणलेले आहेत आणि त्याची क्वालिटी पण अतिशय उत्तम आहे. ऑर्गॅनिक क्वालिटी म्हणतात आणि एक एक त्याचा तुम्ही फळ बघितलं तर प्रचंड मोठं आहे. तुम्हाला एक साधारणतः उदाहरण दाखवतो. ही भोपळी मिरची बघा. ही भोपळी मिरची एवढी मोठी आहे, आम्हाला लहान भोपळ्या मिरच्या मिळालच नाही. म्हणजे ही एवढी मोठी भोपळी मिरची हे आम्ही लहान भोपळी मिरची शोधत होतो की भरलेली भोपळी मिरची खावी ह्या दृष्टीकोनातून, पण आम्हाला ती मिळालीच नाही. असे सगळे अत्यंत मोठे कांदा म्हटला तर एवढा मोठा, ते खरबूज आहे एवढं मोठं, सगळं मोठं मोठं की ते आपण भारतीय पद्धतीनुसार आपण महाराष्ट्रीयन पद्धतीनुसार आपल्याला ते कदाचित 5-6 दिवस करतो. असा मोठा भाजी मार्केट आहे. बरेच अमेरिकन आणि आपले भारतीय सुद्धा लोक इथे दिसत आहेत. त्याबरोबर ते खाद्यसंस्कृती म्हणजे आता मी थोडंसं शूटिंग केलं आहे खाद्यसंस्कृतीचं. सगळ्यांना जिथे माणूस आहे तिथे लोकसंगीची सुरुवात असणारच. तिथे व्हरायटी स्टॉल्स आहेत. मला एक इंडियन स्टॉल पण दिसला आहे. जमलं त्यांनी करून दिली तर मी त्याचं शूटिंग पण करेन. असा सगळा फार्मर्स मार्केट फारच छान हिरवळ आणि प्रचंड गर्दी आहे. प्रचंड मार्केटमध्ये सगळं पदार्थ आहे. सो हे असं मला वाटलं की आपण रेकॉर्डिंग करावं. दृष्टिकोनातून धन्यवाद. थँक्यू. I'm here in Nashville in Farmers Market. I'm meeting Tasha Kennard,
Yes, nice to meet you.
Executive Director of Farmers Market, and madam, we will have some chat with you to know what you are doing exactly here at Farmers Market.
Well, we're glad to have you all here today, and I look forward to the conversation.
I'm from India, from Mumbai and Pune. There are two cities in Maharashtra, and Maharashtra is also very much, farmers are big asset for the Maharashtra. And, farming is a big profession in the Maharashtra. So we would like to know more about U.S. farming system and your marketing system of the farmers market.
Yeah, well, we'd love to know about yours too. You're probably way more advanced than we are. Yeah. Okay. I'm Tasha Kennard. I'm the Executive Director here at the Nashville Farmers Market.
So you are an employee of government of
Yes, I work for Metro Nashville. Metro Nashville, the mayor actually appoints a board of directors for the Nashville Farmers Market. We have 5 members per our charter with the city, and he appoints them, and then Metro Council confirms them, and I report to them. And we have a team of 6 that run the market. We operate 362 days out of the year.
So it is a good initiative for betterment of the farmers and small scale business.
Absolutely. You know, in a city like this that's thriving, we've got a great mixture of small local businesses and large corporations headquartering their businesses here in Nashville. And you know, it's great to pay attention to the big businesses that come in and help bring jobs and bring stability and insurance and benefits to the people that live here. But it's just as important to support the little guy, you know, the folks that want to work for themselves and share their craft and share their talent with other people. And that's what the city and the state have committed to offering here with this market, because they could redevelop this property, but they choose not to. They choose to make it a mainstay for long-term support for these small businesses and farmers here.
Very nice. Thank you very much.
Can I ask you one more quick question? How long have you been with this farmers market?
I've been here for 5 years. I've been shopping with the farmers market since I was a baby. So I'm from this area. I grew up about 15 miles north of the market, and my grandmother used to drive me down here after school and on the weekends and go shopping here. And that was actually the old market, so that's what we call it. It was just a stone's throw away before they redeveloped the park and built this. When they built this, I was going off to college when that happened, and when my husband and I got married, we lived in North Carolina, but we wanted to get married here in Nashville where our families are. And we came here with our caterer and with our florist and picked out everything from the market for our menu and for our decorations. And never in a million years would I thought I would have ended up working here. I have a food security background, worked in hunger relief, which is my passion. But we've been able to bring some of that work here as well. So one of the things that is unique about our market is that we try to make the markets accessible to everyone, whether you can afford it or not. So we offer a program that we call Fresh Bucks. If someone is using a government-sponsored voucher or debit card to purchase their groceries, they can bring that here, purchase here, and then we match dollar for dollar and give them, we basically double their purchasing power. So if they spend $20, we give them $20 back in tokens to go buy more fresh fruits and vegetables at the market. Because we really believe that everybody should have a great tomato or be able to enjoy eggplant or have the best blueberries and blackberries possible. And we know that the closer you eat to where you live, it's better for your body. Yeah. So we want to make sure that the folks that are the most at risk in our community have access to the stuff that's going to heal our bodies and help us long term.
That's really
It's
amazing.
amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. So I am using this for my, so in India, this should be something different type of, inspiring story.
Oh, cool. Great. Yeah.
I mean, it's just a perspective from, for the lack of better word, like a foreigner's perspective of life in America. Is what the theme of the videos that we are recording
okay, cool.
for. So
Yeah.
it covers different aspects of American life. So not just like a farmer's market, like
Right.
market, like you're
Yeah,
a
it's
regular,
so
everyone
different.
in the world, probably every single household in the world has to go out and get food. It's
Right.
a different perspective.
Well, in the United States, it's different. We've recreated this land, and in India, you grew up with the culture of shopping at the street markets and buying your spices right out of the bins, and it's more ingrained in your way of life than it is here in the United States.
Oh, really?
And so
Yeah, of course.
there's been a big shift over the past 10 to 12 years for Americans to get more acclimated with knowing where their food comes from. Because, in America, we have a tendency to move towards what I would call fast food or convenient food. We're very busy. And it's not that other parts of the world aren't very busy, because India is a very busy place. But we have a tendency to kind of forget the aspect of the importance of preparing the food and celebrating with others around the table. And I think that's one thing that farmers markets help families reconnect with. They slow us down a little bit. They connect us with the person that grew it.
Yeah.
You're more likely to care about it as you prepare it if you know who grew it. It's also more affordable in most instances, even if you're buying organic or non-pesticide grown products. You'll find great deals at farmers markets, and you can buy it in bulk and freeze it, so you can eat it year round if you want to. But we're slowly, markets all across the United States are beginning to make inroads with families across America to slow that lifestyle down and reconnect with the people that grew their food. And we all know that it's better for the environment if we do that as well.
Oh,
I
definitely.
have one question to you. In India, what is happening that because of unpredictable rain and climate changing and not having sufficient water resources to farm the
Right.
so in USA maybe there may be a similar type of conditions might have been arriving, but
Oh yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
Just let me know. Important part of the government to protect and support those crops so that we have them available to create, whether it's fiber or fuel or food. The 3 F's of what we call American farming. That's what our farms do. In Tennessee, particular, every region of the United States, every country is different. In Tennessee, one of the big crops has always been tobacco. we produce a particular style of tobacco that is very sought after, and it grows well here. And we're starting to see, as trends towards smoking decline, we're starting to see a lot of our tobacco farmers move into what we call row crops. So they're growing fruits and vegetables, but they're also moving into hemp. In Tennessee, we've seen over 1,000% increase in the number of hemp permits that have been given to area farmers to be able to increase the production and processing and manufacturing of hemp-based products here.
Why would that be? Just because of the quality of soil, or just because the revenue it brings in?
Well, it's a little bit of both. You know, when you're a farmer, you got to find a way to go to the next crop. You know, if you're growing a crop, your whole farm is dedicated to tobacco, and that's a shrinking market. Then you got to innovate. And hemp grows in similar conditions to tobacco, not exactly the same, but very similar. It's got a lot of health benefits compared to a tobacco crop. And they're already practiced in the processes of starting that seed and supporting it in their greenhouses or in the float beds, and then producing it out in the fields. So it's a fairly new thing, just really kind of ramping up. But you know, they're saying it's a multi-billion-dollar business, and you know, states all over the United States are now getting into it from an agricultural standpoint.
This entire project of farmers market is basically a project by government, or it is something privately organized event?
So the farmers market here in Nashville was established in the 1800s as what we know as Nashville was becoming settled as a community. And it actually took place where our courthouse is right now, where our city courthouse is, where our mayor's office is, and our city council meets. There was a large lawn there that set right off of the riverbank. And that's where the farmers would come in and trade their animals, their vegetables, their fruit. And, you know, as most cities throughout the world are formed around trading what we eat, that's how Nashville started. And we were actually building number 3 that was built as what we know as Nashville now was settled into a community. And over the course of the years throughout the 1800s, there were multiple buildings that were built that were called City Market, Farmers Market, and then eventually, as the city became known as Nashville, it was called the Nashville Farmers Market. So this is our 4th location. We've been here for over 20 years. We moved into this facility in 1995 after the city and the state decided to redevelop this whole area. There's an area of about 50 plus acres that make up what is known as Bicentennial Mall. So we sit on Bicentennial Mall. It starts right at this curb of Rosa Parks, and it goes all the way back to 5th Avenue. And it includes the Nashville Farmers Market, the Bicentennial Mall, Memorial Park, the Tennessee State Museum, and soon to be the State Library and Archives building. It's all state-owned land, and me and my crew, we actually work for the city. So it's a really unique marriage between the city and the state that supports small businesses and local farmers coming here to host their businesses here.
So another question is, what is the approximately turnover here?
Turnover?
Yeah.
Turnover is not very rapid here. What we find is that our property is broken up into 3 different zones. We have a garden center that's been here for about 15 years. They're on the end of the property. They take up about 25,000 square feet. They operate year-round, and they're on their second 10-year lease at this property. Inside the market house, we have 21 restaurants and shops. Those are all on 3- and 5-year leases. Most of them are on their 4th or 5th term of that lease. And so they're here for the long term. In the farm shed area, which is where you were at earlier today, the farmers don't turn over very rapidly. About 50% of the farmers are year-round producers, and the other 50% are seasonal. And here in this region, the peak harvest season is May through November. So that's when most of the fruits and vegetables are available in Nashville. The other businesses that you see out in the farm sheds, they're local artisans, crafters, food artisans. They're making cupcakes and brownies and chai tea, all sorts of different things. We've got a company that blends spices and imports olive oils. We've got a company that brings in balsamic oils from Africa. We've also got a company that brings in hand woven shoes from Guatemala. So it's not just a place for farmers to do business, but a place for the whole
Small-scale
community.
industries.
Yeah, those small businesses that are really mom and pop owned family businesses to start up here, and we help incubate them. We do see turnover in the crafters
In the dollars,
and the food artisans.
in the dollars way, what
In
is the approximate turnover?
In the what?
Purchase and sales transaction,
Like, what is the monetary?
monetary.
So we do not collect sales data from our merchants. Part of what we do here is we provide them a place to do their business, and they pay us a very low rent to do business here, but we don't collect information about their sales.
But approximately, what is your experience in that? What should be a
Well, it depends upon the type of business you are. If you're a meat producer, you might be able to, do $250,000 here a year in a farm shed. If you are selling cupcakes or something like that, it's going to be a lot less because you're producing in smaller quantities.
What about agriculture products?
Agricultural products, they do really, really well here. It's in the heart of the city. It's accessible off all the interstates. We have free parking. We're one of the only markets in the country that still offers free parking for their patrons.
Let's say you are a policymaker.
Yeah.
Let's say for you have been given a charge of formulating a policy. What will you change either in the world or just in general?
So we did some work here a couple years ago that we call a food assessment. Our goal here in Nashville is at this market to help create access for fresh, healthy food for everybody. And one of the things that we know is a problem here in our community is accessibility to food. We talked about it earlier with our voucher and our matching program. And when we're looking at how we improve access, we have to look at soil conditions, land preservation, the type of product gaps we might have here in terms of production, the accessibility and affordability of land. All that is very important. So, for any community, across the world that's looking at trying to build a healthy community-based food system, you got to protect your assets. You've really got to look at the land around your community and how is it protected versus everything being developed. Because soon enough, you'll put a building on every plot of where you could have grown a spice or garlic or corn or whatever it may be. And if we want to continue to be able to feed ourselves healthy food and not processed manufactured food, then we have to keep growing it. So advice number one would be protect your land as much as you possibly can. And advice number two is don't be afraid of the innovation. We have a shipping container farm right out here on concrete at the Nashville Farmers Market where he's growing over 2 acres of lettuce and herbs in a shipping container.
Wow.
So there are ways to continue to produce even when the land or the soil is not available. So don't be afraid to innovate and to try new things. And then the third thing I would say is, farming is hard. It's hard for the people that are in the business, and local and state and federal governments have to find a way to supplement the farmers and continue to support this production and this way of life in order for us to continue to thrive as a global economy. I mean, we just have to. Because if we don't, everything's going to come from McDonald's, and that's not great, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the highlight of my year is when tomatoes come in season and I slice the first one and I have a tomato sandwich on white bread. That's just the best thing in the world. Everyone deserves that highlight wherever you're at, whether it's your watermelon coming in or it's the first potato out of the ground. And we got to protect that.
Thank you so much for your
Thank you
time.
very much.
Y'all have fun,
What's your name, please?
Conry Farms. Conry Farms.
Conway Farm. Okay.
So you raised this on the farms.
And it's all got to be hand picked. We always pick the night before. And we bring it here. We also go to Franklin. We got a trailer in Franklin that's right down there too.
Okay.
And we grow it in sections. So one section is going out, the next section is getting ready to pick. So we'll be here all summer long.
Oh,
We
wow.
can do that too. The way we do it, we're not here all summer long. Most everybody else, when they grow their corn, it'll last for about 2 weeks and it's done. We don't. We do it in that. It's a lot more work, but that way we have corn all summer long.
And where is this farm located?
Do you know where Chattanooga is? Okay, we're about halfway between here and Chattanooga. Off that, it's about 30 miles. We're in a place called Morrison. It's in between Manchester and McMinnville. And McMinnville is the nursery capital of the world. They grow shrubbery and all that kind of stuff for wholesale. We're halfway in between Manchester and McMinnville.
And do you guys have a facility of visiting you if if it's
We
not
don't have a facility, but we have a farm. If you call the head, he would take care of it.
So you allow visitors?
like if we call you, we're just interested because my dad might be interested. Like grew up in the farm in India and stuff like that.
What the hard thing would be finding anybody there because he also has a fencing company where he goes around the farm and puts up fencing. He has a big machine that puts the fence up.
If we schedule before, if we
So-
schedule like 2 weeks before, can we do like a reserve?
But possibly it all depends upon his fencing schedule.
Sure, yeah,
Because
I understand.
weekends he does corn.
Which are the other products which you produce in your farms?
It's is it an exclusive corn only farm?
No. It's. I mean, anybody can buy it, but he's been. This is his 10th year doing this, and this is the only kind of corn that he will grow.
Oh no, but it's only corn that grows on his farm.
Okay. No
Awesome.
other vegetables or fruits?
No. We raise beef cattle for slaughter,
Yeah.
and kids. It's my son that grows it, and he has 5 kids, and then the sweet one.
So it's a family-owned farm.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
And
It was
it's
actually
called,
that's my sister, and we
Conry
were
farm.
raised on the farm.
It's corn farm.
Conry farm. Like Audrey.
Yeah.
Somebody's Audrey, except it's Conry, and he is Audrey.
Oh, nice.
Thank you.
Conry is Conry farm. So.